If you're thinking about purchasing a home this year and you're wondering, how do I pick a real estate agent to work with? This is the right video for you. So make sure you stay till the very end. I'm going to explain to you from my perspective as a loan officer for over 15 years, what you should be looking for as a buyer to pick the right realtor to represent you on a transaction. And if this is the first time you're checking out my channel, my name is Seanu Uyehara. I'm an area manager with Geneva Financial. And you heard it, I've been in the business over 15 years and I created this channel to help you get your mortgage right so you avoid a lot of the mistakes and pitfalls that I see and hear people making every single day. You can hit the description below. There's links to more information on how to get your mortgage right. And if you ever need a second opinion, you can always send me an email on a refinance or a purchase. I'm more than happy to give you my 2 cents and make sure that you get the right mortgage for yourself. So the industry is changing quite a bit right now. And one of the things that you will always think about is, how do I pick a good realtor? How do I pick a good lender? Usually they go hand in hand. Great realtors usually work with great lenders and vice versa. So one of the things of what you can typically do is ask your loan officer, who do they work with? Because like I said, every good lender has great realtors that they work with. Most of our business as loan officers come from real estate agents. Now, a lot of you reach out to me directly, which I'm super thankful for. So obviously we don't necessarily come into contact with an agent because we can usually open up our network to you folks. But more often than not, the buyer will always go to the real estate agent first. You think of buying a house, you get excited, you call a realtor. Then the realtor is going to refer you to their lender and then you get your transaction done. But in this case, a lot of you will call us and then we'll connect you with our network of people that we trust and we love to work with. Now, some of the things that I look for in a good realtor, number one is communication. You would be surprised how many times I can call a real estate agent, I can text a real estate agent, and they never respond. They never respond to my text messages, or they respond to an email like 4 days after the fact, or they just don't even respond at all. I can tell you so many horror stories that I've had with realtors, and of course, I'm not going to name drop here, but I had one of my loan officers in my branch the other day. We had a client that was pre-approved. He was following up with the agent. He said, hey, we had approved this person on, I think it was a Thursday or Friday, and this is Tuesday or Wednesday that we were following up. The agent didn't even call the client. The agent did not even reach out to the buyer yet. So the buyer called my loan officer asking him for an update, and to his surprise, he didn't know that the realtor hasn't reached out. So you want to make sure that when you're working with someone that they're responsive, because you as the buyer, you are the most important piece in the entire transaction. Without you, we have no deal. So if your realtor doesn't respond to you in a timely fashion, if your lender doesn't respond to you in a timely fashion, fire them. Go find somebody else to work with. There are many good people out there that will respond in a timely manner. Even if they can't answer you right now, they could probably send a text, or they have someone on their team that can respond to you to at least get you the information that you're needing. So number one, communication. Number two, what I would look for is look for their reviews, because so many real estate agents in the country have no reviews online. So if you're running a business, how do you not have one person that's willing to give you a testimonial? If you've been in business 10 years, 15 years, 5 years, 1 year, do you have some sort of reviews online, whether it's Zillow, whether it's Yelp, whether it's Google, Facebook, something? You need to have something that can show your customers how you work as a realtor. You can look anybody up online, and usually you can find reviews on Zillow.com. They usually have a ton of reviews for both real estate agents and lenders. Now, if you comb through anyone's reviews, usually there's a common theme, whether it's, hey, they had great service or great communication, or they went above and beyond for me, or they're very responsive. There's usually something there. Now, if that is what you are looking for in an agent, then great. It's an easy way to figure out what you can expect throughout the transaction. But if there's nothing there, I would then go try to find them on social media, right? What are they posting about on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok? Are they educational? Is it just fun videos, or is it just pictures of them taking selfies? I think you really got to figure out what matters to you and what you feel is going to help get a deal done in this market that we're in right now. So if there are no reviews whatsoever, I think you have to pass on that person. This is the biggest transaction that you're going to make in your life. For most people, you're never going to spend probably more than $300,000-$400,000 again, unless you buy more real estate in your life. But for most people, especially where prices are today, this is probably the biggest expense. So you want to make sure that you have someone who is understanding of the market, who knows how to negotiate. And some of the questions that I would ask a realtor if I'm interviewing them is, how many deals have you done in the last 6 months? When was the last time you closed a transaction that went sideways? You want to ask them these things, because if a realtor tells you this, I've never had a deal go sideways ever, they're lying to you, or they don't do enough business. Because I can tell you, the more business you do, you are going to have problems. There is no file that is 100% perfectly clean. There's always something that can potentially come up and kill a deal. So whether it's the lender, whether it's the property, whether it's the seller, there's so many moving pieces to get a real estate transaction closed. close, there's always a chance for a deal to go sideways. And if the realtor doesn't know how to understand that and navigate those waters for you, again, they may not have the experience, but maybe they're on a team. So what kind of support are they going to get to help you get through the deal? Because remember, when you go into contract on a house, it is your earnest money deposit that is up at risk. So if it's $1,000, if it's $5,000, $10,000, $100,000, it is your money that's up for risk. It's not the realtor, it's not the lender. And if something goes sideways, who's losing here? You're losing. The lender's going to move on with their day, the realtor's going to move on with their day, and that's it. So you want to make sure that they have your best interest in mind. They know how to navigate problems, they know how to solve them, and they know how to negotiate, because this market is ever changing. Interest rates have been so volatile lately. So you want to make sure that your lender and your real estate agent, they are working as a team. One thing I would definitely stay away from is working with friends or family. And I know sometimes we want to give someone a shot, but you need to make sure that they understand what the market is doing. Because if it's their first transaction, you know they're going to make mistakes. You know that there's things that they're going to overlook. So you either need to give them some grace or just hope that things work out for the best. But I can tell you that unless they're on a team, it can be really, really difficult, because there's a lot of things that you may have questions on that may never get answered, or you may just have situations where you don't maybe get a home inspection because they didn't know to get one for you, or they didn't understand what any of the loan contingencies meant or the appraisal contingencies. So there's all these things and nuances on the contract that could make or break a deal. It could save you thousands of dollars if the agent doesn't know what to ask for or maybe what to position themselves for. So again, you got to do your homework. You have to do your research. They say the average agent does maybe 6 or so transactions a year. So you're looking at maybe a deal every other month. So if they're not on a team and maybe high volume, seeing a lot of opportunities and transactions, they may not have enough knowledge or maybe market expertise. So again, you need to decide for yourself. Are you willing to take that risk to give someone a shot? Because hey, all of us in the industry now, we all started somewhere. Someone gave us a shot at some point in our career. So I definitely don't discourage that, but I think you definitely need to set the tone up front for what your expectations are and what you hope that the agent can fulfill in order to make that deal go through. Maybe they have a team, or maybe you can even talk to their broker as well, because every agent has a broker that they work for, which is technically supposed to oversee the office. So they could also be a resource. So maybe if you do decide to give maybe a friend or family a shot on their first transaction, maybe just ask for the broker's information as well. So that way you can ask them questions directly in case the person that you're working with doesn't have the information readily available. So we've got communication, look for their reviews, maybe see if they have a support team willing to help them out. And another thing that I would also look for and ask about is the broker fee or transaction fee. Now, in many cities across the country, realtors will charge you an additional fee when they represent you as an agent. This fee I've seen range anywhere from a few $100s to even upwards of $1,000. So that fee is typically what they'll tell you is to house any of the documents for the transaction, because by law, they have to house these documents for a certain period of time in order to be compliant with the real estate division. But you want to ask what that fee is, because that fee can be whatever they want to charge. For example, let's say broker A has a $250 transaction fee that the broker requires. So that real estate agent has the option to either charge it to you as the client, or they can pay it themselves on your behalf. Now, that broker minimum fee is $250, but the agent could charge you, call it $1,000, and they could pocket the other $750 off of the $1,000, because the $250 is going to go back to the house. So you want to make sure and ask them, do you have any other fees and charges that you will be assessing to me if I were to hire you as my real estate agent? Again, I've seen these fees go anywhere from a few $100 to $1,000, but that's coming out of your pocket. So ask them, what is that charge? They should be able to tell you that up front. That way you know exactly what you're getting into, and you're not just getting hit over the head when you're signing a bunch of papers and you just blindly sign a document that you have no idea what you're signing. That happens quite often. I've heard of some agents just kind of slipping it into some of their disclosures that they make you sign up front, where you don't really understand what you're signing. So take a second to make sure that you understand what you're signing. Now, here's something I can piggyback off of with documents you sign. Some agents will make you sign what they call a buyer's broker's agreement. This means that when we sit down and let's say I'm your realtor and I'm representing you and you sign this agreement, this typically means that I'm getting to represent you for X amount of time. They will specify on the document how long the representation will last for. Sometimes agents will be sneaky about it and they'll slip it into the documents. You don't know what you're signing, but they should be telling you what you are actually signing. This means that I can represent you for, let's just say, 90 days. So if you were to go find a house, you fired me as an agent, you went somewhere else, bought a property, property, I could fight for that commission since you technically were still under the contract that we signed. There's been times where buyers have contacted multiple agents to go look at the same property. But again, if you sign that agreement, that other agent could fight for that commission. So you definitely don't want to be working with too many people at once. Try to work with one agent, give them the respect and the time that they deserve if they're working hard for you. And you know what? If they suck and they're not doing their job, tell them, fire them, move on to the next person, but don't just string them along and hoping that, they're going to represent you. So make sure that you understand everything that you're signing. Don't back yourself into a corner, signing some sort of contract that you're just unaware of. And again, beware of any fees and costs that are in addition to the transaction, because again, that's on your responsibility. They can charge you technically whatever they want, but most people are going to be probably within a $500 to $1,000 range, especially where the market is right now. Agents that aren't doing a ton of business, they're going to look for ways to make more money. And again, that can come from you as the buyer. So make sure that their communication's on point, do some research online, ask for referrals, look on their social media, look for reviews, look for testimonials. All of those things can determine what type of service or experience that you're going to have on that transaction. Ask your lender for a referral and make sure to ask questions up front. If you don't do that, you can back yourself into a position where you might not have an enjoyable experience, which is unfortunate because buying a house should be fun. It's a big investment and it shouldn't be as painful as sometimes it comes out to be. So make sure you do these things. And if you need a second opinion or you want to tap into our network of top agents that we work with, always send me an email. I'll be happy to connect with you with somebody, and good luck with your search. We'll talk to you soon.